All right, let's talk about a movie that was ambitious, complicated, and yeah, definitely controversial. We're diving deep into the spy thriller Dhurandhar. Today, we're going to break down this epic cinematic event and really see what makes it tick. And when I say epic, I'm not kidding. The first thing you absolutely have to know about this film is its runtime. Look at that, 214 minutes. That's almost 3.5 hours. That number alone tells you everything you need to know about the sheer scale and ambition we're dealing with here. So what is Dhurandhar exactly? Well, it's a spy action thriller from 2025 directed by R&AW, and it was made with a pretty massive budget of 140 crore rupees. It's got this huge ensemble cast, with the one and only Ranveer Singh leading the charge. Now, the title itself, Dhurandhar, that translates to stalwart, which, yeah, that sets the tone perfectly. The entire idea for this movie is rooted in the very real, very dangerous world of international espionage. It draws its inspiration from actual covert ops by India's R&AW agency right inside the criminal underworld of Karachi. And that brings us right to the heart of the story. It's all about this high-stakes game of infiltration and betrayal. It centers on this really complex, really tense relationship between a deep cover agent and an incredibly powerful gangster. The plot is a lot. It's pretty intricate, but you can really break it down into 5 key steps. First, you've got an Indian death row inmate who gets recruited for this, impossible mission. Then he has to go undercover in Karachi and work his way into a powerful gang. Step 3, he's got to earn the trust of the big boss, this guy Raman Decade. Then from the inside, he orchestrates the guy's downfall. But wait, it doesn't even stop there. He then takes over the whole syndicate himself so he can hunt down an even bigger target. I mean, talk about a layered and daring mission. And this, right here, is where things get really fascinating. See, the film doesn't just feel real. It is directly inspired by real events and actual people. It really starts to blur that line between what you're seeing on screen and what actually happened in the real world. The whole story is anchored in reality. It's loosely based on something called Operation Liari, which was a real government crackdown on organized crime in Karachi. So this isn't just some made-up story. It gives all the action a kind of grounded, historical weight. And the film's connection to real life is incredibly direct. I mean, it's not even trying to be subtle. The character Ajay Sanyal, that's a pretty clear stand-in for India's national security advisor, Ajit Doval. The antagonist, Raman Decade, literally shares his name with a real Karachi gangster. And the list just keeps going. A celebrated police officer, a notorious terrorist. It's a classic case of a story where the real-life figures are hiding just beneath the surface of the fiction. So how in the world do you bring a story this massive to the screen? Well, the production itself was just a monumental effort, and it came with its own set of pretty epic challenges. The shoot took 15 months, and it was a truly global production. They started in Bangkok, using it as a stand-in for parts of Pakistan. Then they moved all across India, from Amritsar to Mumbai. But the production ran into some really serious problems. While filming in Ladakh, there was a food poisoning incident so severe that it put over 100 crew members in the hospital and brought filming to a complete standstill. So once this huge project was finally in the can, you'd think the journey was over, right? Not even close. The film's release was met with a storm of critical debate and a whole lot of off-screen controversy. This quote from the Indian Express really sums up what most people thought. Critics could see the ambition, they saw the scale, they saw these flashes of just pure brilliance, but a lot of them felt it didn't quite come together as a whole. Yeah, the reviews were pretty split. On one hand, everybody praised the performances. They were stellar, and the incredible way they built the world of Karachi's underworld. But on the other hand, the criticisms were just as consistent. At almost 3.5 hours, it just felt way too long. The pacing was all over the place, and the story got tangled up in its own complicated subplots. And the drama was not just on the screen. The film was hit with some major real-world conflicts, which just goes to show how sensitive things can get when art imitates life this closely. The family of a martyred Indian Army officer claimed the story was based on his life, and they never gave permission. The widow of the real police officer, Chaudhry Aslam, threatened to sue. Even the star, Ranveer Singh, had to issue a public apology for a mistake he made during promotion. So with all that going on, how did it do at the box office? Well, on a budget of 140 crore, it actually fell a little short in India. But thanks to its worldwide gross, it did manage to turn a profit, landing just under 170 crore.
A respectable number, but maybe not the massive blockbuster they were hoping for with a film this big.
But here's the final twist in the tale. The film ends on a massive cliffhanger, and Dhurandhar Part 2 is already on the calendar. So despite the mixed reviews and all the controversy, this sprawling story is far from over. And that leaves us with a really important question to think about. When movies are based so heavily on real-life tragedy, on real conflict, and on the lives of real people, where do you draw the line? When does powerful historical inspiration become just plain exploitation for the sake of entertainment? It's the big question that really hangs over the entire legacy of a film like Dhurandhar.